DR Congo, the round of 32 knockout football. It's a 5 p.m. kickoff, and you can, of course, follow it here with us on Sky Sports News. Let's cross live to our reporter, Gary Cottrell. Gary, good evening from us here in the UK. You've been speaking to the DR Congo boss. What did he have to say?
Yeah, Sebastian de Zabra, a pretty cool customer in this hot weather. He's known as the florist because he used to be a florist until he decided to become a football manager, and he's planted some pretty high expectation as far as DR Congo concerned ahead of this match. They've flowered really under his control over the last 4 years. In the last 4 years, they've never lost by more than one goal, so there might have been a 1-0 or a 2-1 or a 3-2, but never more than a one-goal margin defeat, and not even Thomas Tuchel could say that. And he's just given his news conference ahead of this game. He says that they're not here as tourists. They've proven that so far, he says, in this tournament. Of course, he accepts that England are the favourites. England are a team packed with Premier League stars, but he believes that if they play their cards right, as they have done on a couple of occasions so far in this World Cup, then they can give England a game. Of course, they drew with Portugal earlier in this tournament, only allowing Portugal, I think, one chance on target, which they scored from, but luckily DR Congo got an equaliser, and so they are where they are. And of course, they've got the efforts and what the other African teams, what they've managed to do so far in this tournament to give them a bit of extra belief. He answered all of his questions in about a 25-minute news conference in French, apart from one, the last one, which we managed to ask him in English. And it was all about whether or not there's going to be a penalty shootout.
Hello, Coach. Sky Sports UK. I traditionally ask head coaches who are involved in the game against England whether they're in the business of giving an English answer. I don't know whether you can.
Yes, I speak English, but for respect for my country and the journalist, I prefer speaking French, but it's possible, yeah.
I just wondered if it was possible to keep England to just one chance on goal, as you did Portugal, and have you practiced penalties?
Yes, we practice penalties because we are professional, and it's one possibility is to end the game with a penalty, and we worked that, and we won against Nigeria in penalty. Also, we won in Egypt in the last, not the last AFCON, but in AFCON in Ivory Coast, and we have a lot of possibility on penalty. We can swift as the goalkeeper also.
I like him, Gary. He's got a kind of a confidence. He's got a bit of an aura, hasn't he? What do you think we can expect to see from DR Congo tomorrow?
Well, they're very hard to beat. They're very hard to score against, as mentioned in the previous answer. They've obviously got a smattering of Premier League talent in there as well. They've got, I think, 10 players, David, who've either played in the Premier League or EFL, or currently play in the Premier League or EFL. A lot more who were actually born and bred in England. So it's an extra incentive, he says, for those players. They'll play 5 at the back, they'll play 3 in midfield, but there'll be midfielders who are more concerned about defending than attacking. And then, of course, the 2 up front, including Wissa, who, let's face it, probably has had, to put it fairly, an up-and-down season at Newcastle, but has been in good form in this World Cup, scored a couple here last time out. So it won't be easy for England, maybe the type of game that they had against Ghana, but of course you'll know that England will have very, very carefully watched DR Congo, and he says he and his team have very, very carefully watched England. So they're big favourites, England. Everyone's surprised that DR Congo have even got this far. They're writing them off, I think, if you're an England fan, but if you're an England player or an England manager, I think you would do that at your peril.
All right, thank you very much indeed. Jarell Quansah is out of England's World Cup last 32 tie against the Democratic Republic of Congo with an ankle injury. He missed England's final training session ahead of tomorrow night's game. That means that Tottenham's Jed Spence is England's most likely option at right back right now. Reece James currently sidelined with a hamstring injury. Well, Declan Rice was one of 24 players to take part in training. Rice had been rested against Panama. He did look fresh in this session. Bukayo Saka made his first start against Panama. We'll be hoping to keep his place ahead of Arsenal teammate Noni Madueke on the right-hand side. Marcus Rashford also pushing for back-to-back starts at the expense of Anthony Gordon. So plenty for Thomas Tuchel to think about. He's vowed that England will improve after unconvincing displays against Ghana and Panama. However, he'll have to do so without the injured Reece James and Jarell Quansah, as Tuchel faces a selection dilemma in the depleted right-back position.
Of course, it's not ideal. I think Thomas Tuchel would much prefer it for Reece James or Tino Livramento to be fit, but he's always said that he's got options, he's got different sort of plans for the right-back position, but you have to say, plan A was Reece James. He's injured. Plan B was Tino Livramento. He went home. Plan C was Jarell Quansah. He played last time round and now he's injured as well. So I don't want to be unfair to Jed Spence, because I don't want to describe him as a plan D, because obviously he's a very good player and he can play as left back as well. But Thomas Tuchel is starting to run out of options, and he must be hoping that if England do get further in this tournament, then certainly he would want Jarell Quansah and Reece James to be back pretty soon.
Well, former England midfielders Paul Scholes and Nicky Butt had differing opinions on how much England's World Cup performances so far should be scrutinised.
I find it hard to sit here and have a pop at the England team or the manager at the minute, because they've done what they set out to do, is finish top of the table. And from my understanding around it is that if we get to the final and hopefully win it, no one will worry about how we got through to the league stages. Because everyone likes to watch us play the right football. We have got top class players within our squad that can go and be world beaters and one-on-ones and individual attacking players, but we don't play like that at the minute, and I think that's Tuchel's plan. They're not expansive enough to go and create too many chances.
I said this the other day on the podcast. I don't think we've seen a team that can win the World Cup yet. Now, don't get me wrong, they can still do it. They're going to have to improve. I think that goes without saying. There's talent in there. I just don't think you're ever going to see a flowing game of football with England. They haven't got them type of players. He's picked a team to overpower teams, be quicker than teams, be stronger than teams, be more physical than other teams, rather than play the beautiful game, as you say, a beautiful game of football. I don't think that will ever happen. Now they can get better, of course, and one thing they've got is match winners. We saw it tonight when they're not playing that well. They've got players who can win you games of football. Marcus Rashford can do it. Probably hasn't done it yet. He scored in that Croatia game, but I still think there's more to come from him. Saka needs games, but again, he's a match winner. And obviously Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham are the main ones to watch.
Well, smash their transfer record to sign Mateus Fernandes from West Ham. Spurs have agreed a fee of around £85 million to beat Manchester United to the midfielder's signature. Well, Fernandes, who is 21 years old, is now preparing to have a medical with Spurs after United were unwilling to match the fee. He is poised to become Tottenham's fifth signing already this summer, after Marcos Senesi, Jan-Paul van Hecke, Andy Robertson and Martin Dubravka, and they are still pursuing a deal for Newcastle's Sandro Tonali, which would need to be another club record fee.
Well, it's great news for Tottenham fans. There'll be a lot of excitement about that, because this is something that we've never really seen before, where Tottenham are making something in the market. They're really having a go. Previous regime would never have done this. I think there's been a couple of reasons. Obviously, the two relegation fights has not been ideal for the Tottenham fans and the board, and they've probably just had enough of it. And I also think, to a certain extent, with Arsenal winning the title last year, it's almost embarrassed Tottenham into, like, now we have to act. We have to start buying some proper players, some players that are going to change our history, if you like, and start making this like a really serious operation. And the players that they're getting mentioned for, obviously, like Tonali and Fernandes, are really good signings if they can get them across the line. And they're the sort of players that Tottenham midfield has been crying out for. They haven't really had that sort of quality in there. They've had players that work extremely hard. This is the news that Tottenham fans will have been wanting. Hopefully, if they get the players in, they're going to be a force next year. They've got, obviously, a good manager in De Zerbi. He needs that opportunity, and I'm sure when he signed the big contract, he would have insisted on, I need players. You just can't. This squad is not going to be good enough to get into the top 4 next season, top 6. But right now, you look at them, if they get some more players in, there's no reason why they can't have a right go last year. So far, it's been a great window for them. They've moved fast, which is something we never saw before. They'd always be taking their time, trying to make things happen at the last minute, whereas now they're acting very quickly. And I think that's going to really, encourage the manager. He'll be delighted to get players in that he can work with. And I'm a big fan of Fernandes. He was very unfortunate to not be in the Portugal squad, but for Tottenham, this would be a great signing. Just got to get it done now.
For the last few weeks, it's been a straight head-to-head between Tottenham Hotspur and Manchester United for the signature of Fernandes from West Ham. West Ham have made it pretty clear to both football clubs. We will accept the best deal for us. We don't want to sell our whole squad. We don't want to sell all our best players, but we appreciate 1 or 2 might have to go. And the one in particular who is going is this guy right here, Matheus Fernandes. It's a huge signing for Tottenham Hotspur if this goes through, but we understand it will be going through, and he'll be swapping East London for North London. I have not been given any indication from anyone that the signing of Fernandes means that Tonali can go elsewhere. So that's very interesting. It's also very exciting, and it's incredibly unheard of for Tottenham Hotspur supporters.
Well, as we mentioned, Fernandes will shatter Tottenham's transfer record. Dominic Solanke, currently their record signing at £65 million. Then comes Tanguy Ndombele, remember him, at £63 million. Richarlison at £60 million. Then another West Ham player, Mohamed Kudus. And finally, Jan-Paul van Hecke, who joined earlier this month from Brighton for £52 million.
I'm absolutely delighted. Vinay Venkatesham and the Spurs board have come out and said that it is about action and not words, and this is definitely the action that we want to be seeing as Tottenham Hotspur fans. And it seems very, very exciting under Roberto De Zerbi. I must say, we're on the 30th of June, and we're just about to sign our 5th player of the transfer window so far, and we haven't seen this type of action before at the football club. And, all of the fans just want the football club to act like a big club and really go for it, back Roberto De Zerbi and show real intent and show real ambition, and this is exactly what we're doing. We are fighting the likes of Manchester United and beating the likes of Manchester United to top players like Fernandes. It's funny, you sign a player like Fernandes and now the Spurs fans are like, bring Tonali in. It's about the next player. So I just hope that Spurs are going to have a very busy July as well and show real ambition, because we should be fighting for top European places. We should be fighting for trophies and not be finishing 17th 2 years on the spin.
Well, Fernandes ranks highly among Premier League midfielders across a number of metrics. So he recorded the 3rd most successful long passes, 4th most duels, 5th most through balls, 5th most tackles as well. That's despite back-to-back relegations in the last 2 seasons. First with Southampton and then with West Ham.
Look, I think some of the best players out there have had difficult moments in their career. He's had it twice, of course, in suffering back-to-back relegations, but that doesn't deter, top clubs looking for players. I hate to bring that lot down the road into matters, but I don't think that deterred Arsenal when they pushed for Declan Rice at the time when West Ham was struggling. And I think you look at Tottenham, the ability of the player, technically wise, he absolutely massively improves the squad overall. And I think the exciting thing for Spurs is that it comes at a point where De Zerbi is looking to rebuild Spurs. And I think for a lot of fans out there, they've been looking for the nature of a signing like this that's going to hopefully propel Tottenham back to where they belong, competing up the very top of the league, competing for trophies. And look, there's a lot more work to do, like Bridgie says as well. I totally agree with him. It'd be superb if they could get Tonali too. But I think the key thing about this transfer window is the calibre of players that Spurs are looking at has been a lot higher than what we've seen previously.
I think it's a great deal for West Ham. He is a player they signed last summer from Southampton for £42 million. So they're more than doubling their money on him. And he's a player who unfortunately has been relegated, I think, in consecutive seasons, because he was relegated with Southampton. Then last summer he got a £42 million move to West Ham. He was relegated at West Ham. Now he's got an £85 million move to Tottenham. We know that West Ham need to rebuild. They've been relegated. There's lots of problems at the club behind the scenes. We know there are going to be changes at ownership level at West Ham as well. So I think it is good business for West Ham.